The 38th Street Bar. There's the rich, the poor, and the hustlers, owners, workers, and schemers. Hustling the poor is unfair, and anyone who does is contemptible. This is why the rich are fair game for hustlers. They got their wealth doing that. Hustlers are just getting some of it back. Now there are lots of categories: cons, gamblers, hookers, pool shooters, thieves, burglars, bankers, bank robbers, stockbrokers, senators. The list is endless. But this story is about me and Oscar the thief. That's what he was known as. No one ever knew his last name, and it didn't matter. Family names often emanate from occupations like carpenter, baker, tailor, etc. Perhaps by now, 40 years later, he's just Oscar Thief. Anyway, I'm sitting in a 38th Street bar, third stool from the end, my usual post. I'm drinking early times. I had 3 or 4 maybe. Shorty is behind the bar, standing on a stool. She really was short. Sprinkle, Red, Carla, Lank, and I are discussing the problems of the daily drinker when in walks Oscar the thief. Cases the place as any hustler would do, strolls up to us, puts a new C-note down on the bar between me and Sprinkle, orders around for everyone, and announces that last night was one of his best ever. Usually when men say something like that, they are referring to sex, but not Oscar. He was talking about the hand he had made, and which was now conveniently located in the mammoth bank of his '74 Pontiac Bonnie, just outside the door. The esoteric and quite philosophical discussion abruptly ended, to be continued later and endlessly after obligatory thank yous, changed in utter unison to the question at hand. What do you got, Oscar? Come on back, let me show you. All of us, drinks in hand, followed. I carried Sprinkles. He had polio as a kid, wore braces, and walked with 2 canes. With a fanfare and actual bow, Oscar opened the trunk. It was indeed a bonanza. Suits, boxes of shirts, cashmere sweaters, 100 ties, cufflinks, coats, even a box of leather gloves, all for sale at way below bargain prices. The loot spilled over into the back seat. Hickey Freeman, Hart Schaffner and Marx, Oxford, all quality stuff. Oscar had very discerning tastes. There is something about rummaging through hot clothing that brings out the Damon Runyon in me. This is very nice merchandise, Oscar, I said. I am needing a jacket that is class, brown, I think, or maybe blue suede. His eyes lit up. He nosed down through the garments and came up smiling, holding the finest brown suede coat I had ever seen. What do you think, True? How about $30? And I'll throw in a couple of ties. I will try it on, I said. I did. It fit. Deal. I gave him the $30 and picked up some nice striped ties. Oscar the thief, I say, you are a good man. I went back in, sat down, and said to myself in the most satisfied way, it's not what you know, it's who you know. The others wandered back in with various and assorted garments. Carla was loaded with jewelry. Oscar had it in a box in the front seat. She had had a good night, too. So there we were, loot and all. Shorty got a box of shirts for her son, basking in our good luck. We were at the in crowd. I did my fake knot trick with my ties and thought both of these would go just right with my blue suit. Summertime and the living is easy. Actually, it was early fall. Okay. La-di-da-ti-da-di-da, 'tis autumn. Wait a minute. The buttons are on the wrong side. What? How could that be? Shorty and Carla began to snicker. Then out loud guffaws, complete with hey stupid finger pointing. When they finally got enough actual control back to speak, Carla said, "You dumb Hoosier, it's a woman's coat. You can wear it if you want to, but sit down at the other end of the bar." Shorty just shook her head, and the guys ran the gamut of reaction from chuckling, the licking of the little fingers to smooth the eyebrows to a discreet looking away. A feeling came over me like the time years before when I had wrecked my bike in front of Beverly Barker. I just wanted to disappear. No way. I pushed my bourbon to the side and laid my head on the bar. If Phil, the owner, had come in right then, he would have thrown me out. Actually, Phil's brother, Danny, did show up about 15 minutes later. Carla got up. Danny sat down on her stool, and Carla sat on his lap. She kind of whispered in his ear, and he started to laugh, but held his hand to his mouth, and after a moment saved my life. "Why don't you just give it to your wife?" he said calmly. In my self-indulgent pity, I didn't think of that. "Maybe she will ease up on you for missing work." Yeah, maybe so. Now, there was a way out of two hells at the same time. Now I was no longer such a fool and a very good husband at the same time. Okay then. It was about 4:30. My wife got off at 5, so I polished off my drink and said goodbye to my cruel friends and went on home to be Mr. Thoughtful. She wasn't home yet, so I laid the coat in the bedroom, opened a beer, daubed a little on me so I would smell hopsy, sat on the couch and waited. About 10 minutes later, she drove up in the drive, came on in, looked at me and asked the question, "You been drinking?" "Yeah, I just got here and decided to have a beer. Want one?" "Okay, you sure that's all you've had?" "That's it, honey." "How was work today?" she distrustfully asked. "Really good. I mean really good. Wait till you see what I got for you. Sit down, I'll bring you a beer." Now the distrust was inundating. I brought her the Strohs and I got the coat, brought it down the hall, and said before I got back to the living room, "Now stand up, close your eyes, and turn back toward the couch." She did with that "this better be good" look on her face. I walked up behind her and draped the suede over her shoulders. How can moods change so fast? Distrust turned immediately to shocked wonderment. "Jim, what's this?" "I've been saving up," I said in deceitful modesty. She turned to me and I was Prince Charming. "This is just right. I've always wanted one just like this. Oh, Jim," she said, turning to me to model it, walking in a feigned Vogue model fashion. Nothing I've done or not done could spoil the evening now. I had become Mr. Right again.